Welcome back, friends. Last guy here. Time for more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Here we are. I do not remember the voices I did yesterday. This is going to be great. The stolen waxwork. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. Okay, I remember her voice. I immediately noticed that the waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. This waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. Of a particular horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. Not a name I've heard of. Was it Moriarty? So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry? The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time that Barak von Zieks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying... So the big event that changed Mr. Weaver's wife... As you've surmised, it was the Professor's case. Who was this Professor, then? Alright, the Professor. It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. That Jack the Ripper only killed 5 people, by the way. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though of course he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to von Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose. Some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Howie? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the... Ah, wait, of course. What Professor Hairbrained said. Lord von Zieks is from a family with noble blood. Oh gosh. It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint von Zieks. No! I don't believe it. Von Zieks? I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. Huh. I had no idea Lord von Zieks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter. For the time being, at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit. I am afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure, thank you. Now what? You know whose voice I definitely forgot? Hairbrained, because it's been 2 days. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. Alright, wait, was that Von Zieks in it? Oh, him saying that. Right, let's do it in his voice. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak. It's been 10 years, and here we are meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Asman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow the court will decide. Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can help prove it. I must warn you. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to London, I've heard lots of stories. This is what starts. Beric, are you really? What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interests at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Beric. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. Part 1 done? Yep, there we go. It was a pretty long part 1. Holy crap. Like, almost 3 hours. Let's see here. Well, this doesn't tell me time, it just tells me dates. Yeah, 3 episodes. That's almost 3 hours. About 2.5 hours. Woo! Whoops. Now we're in the trial, part 1. Return of the Great Departed Soul is such a weird title. 23rd of October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo! Good morning, Professor Hairbrained. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, well, yes. You won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial. To save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. Now, who would say that? My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with a most tiresome case here. Who would say that? What? We'll just do history. Let's see, who is it? Oh, yeah, he would say that. Alright. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with a most tiresome case here. Yeah, that would be him. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Wono. Leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Is it... Are you... Herlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir, I am he. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Yes, Lance magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in The Adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall. The speckled band. No, that was the speckled band. There it is. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Tispel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter would be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. But until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must actually give it your full attention, Howie. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite. Definitely. Absolutely. I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrained. Why, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success! Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnyboy's paper about it too, Ono, and I have to say, I'm sure it can be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how can an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial. I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Harvey. Ta. Well, looks like you're on your own today, Wuno. But chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? There it is. See, is there a way to see it? There's like a big bunny and a little bunny on her bag. It's hard to see it, though. There's no way to see it, is there? No, there isn't. Oh no, I'm afraid I can't help. There's something I need to do. I see. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. Huh. That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed? And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. I'm curious if Case 5 is going to be back in Japan. Like, we bring Hurley and Iris or something. I'm just going to end here. And, Chisato comes over. 23rd of October, 9:10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Okay, these are all new people. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Hairbrained. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Huh. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more? That was unfortunate. I'm without Susanoo-san today. Made it look like she died. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? I'm the only Asian man here. So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odi Osman. Odi Osman, that's all I got. Mr. Osman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Von Zieks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on 21st October, Mr. Osman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Hairbrained. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? Okay, these are the people, alright. I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. This guy's got a deep voice I can't do. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand, oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. This doesn't seem like a lady who would say oh gosh, oh golly to me. But also, hello. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any spirit scholar that defiles this reputation of science deserves to hang. Well, okay, alright. You got a scientist here. After listening to what's said on both sides of the fence and, then settle on one, that's it, isn't it? I don't know I gave them that voice, but I did. I should have just had something in my mouth while doing it, right? He's like, sleeping guy. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. What the hell? You know, my favorite case has to be when they just had the one villain guy there as a juror. He's like, I'm here. I'm totally a villain guy. That's the police killer Autumnal lookalike? Again? What? And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. What, we've seen this guy before? Oh yeah, that we saw that guy. Okay, yeah. We didn't talk to him, but we saw him sleeping at the waxwork, yeah. Now, as I'm sure you are all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition, shortly after its opening. Although the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. My god, just think about real court, right? Like, real court takes months to convict somebody when it's a high-profile case. Here's days. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Von Zieks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity. and beamed them instantaneously to another location where they are subsequently reassembled.
Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility?
Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking.
Ha! The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny.
Sir, I believe you're a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field?
I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. Gotta get that voice a little deepness. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible.
What is the prosecution's view on the matter?
Doesn't matter. The prosecution would assert that the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success.
What?
What rot? What rot? Order, order.
The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant.
But...
This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim.
Thank you, Lord Von Zeeks. The prosecution's stance is clear. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims.
Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand.
Oh! The accused himself.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question, and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Hairbrained, scientist.
You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right. After graduating from university in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery. Which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis to the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have. Yes, there was the terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Oh. Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph, taken by the forensic investigation team. He got effed.
This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it? The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less.
That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it.
I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence.
A photographic print of the victim taken after he had ostensibly been beamed to the Crystal Tower. It shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Osmond. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself.
I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right. That must be it. My splendid machine. My poor splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? I can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? What? The wreckage? The wreckage?
But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or deliberate and malicious act?
Extremely simply, my lord.
I beg your pardon?
Isn't that right, witness?
What? Sorry? Me?
No, your neighbor.
Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How can you possibly think that?
Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder.
Witness's testimony. Here we go. A front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation of the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a facial wound. That was a lesion in his chest where he'd been clearly stabbed by something sharp in the right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere. This fella is the only one who could have done it. Alright.
An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart.
Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that.
You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused.
No! That couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage and ready to be beamed instantly. To the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away.
The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. And the blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair.
Ooh!
From where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window.
My word, one assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower then.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident, a terrible accident.
Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you.
No, we're not concerned a sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying?
This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record.
Your request is granted, counsel.
Autopsy reported the victim, Mr. Asman. His neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall, and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object. Robber. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Huh. Hard to think any otherwise, really.
Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. Slap! It's been a while. It's been a while. There you go. I need to focus here. Slap. It's been a while. That sounds better. Alright, first up, look at the evidence. Is there anything on this? Let's take a look. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before, but applying this to show the method. I might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Mysterious contraption. Looks like a crossbow. Looks like a crossbow. So nothing for me to... There we go, right there. Ah, there's some sort of lever here. Yup, crossbow. Whoa! What the... What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a bowgun. Huh. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Weapon... Crossbow, there you go. Weapon found hidden behind a tree under the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. It turns out to be... It's a folding crossbow. Don't know when that'd be relevant, but cool. Photograph of the man who was beamed. He did. Autopsy. Odie Asman, male, 47 British, and death 2:20 p.m. Courtney Seath was a coroner. First time we've seen a coroner name as far as I know. Death, hemorrhageable wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations. A broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. Alright. Okay, let's see here. Press. Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah! At the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did occur, actually. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely! The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight and the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asman was wearing at the time, I suppose. Crackling comets! The answer should have been 3. So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think I'd have to spell it out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? 2 right. Obviously, at first we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You'll get your answer once I've finished my fish and chips, if you don't keep butting in every few seconds. But we all know that's a bottomless bag. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it? Hold it! The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensics investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This.
The screwdriver.
Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it?
There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew? Of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
Ah! That isn't...
It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt.
No! And that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fella is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What? What?
Order! Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
Alright. Professor Hairbrained's trusty screwdriver that he's named Andrew. There are traces of blood on the tip, and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. Take a look at it. There's a car going by, so I'm doing what's happening. I've seen this unusual shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill of the floor of the kinesis machine, which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Yeah, it's poking through the grill in the base, yeah. This is blood. Mr. Asmon's, no doubt. This is a problem with looking at murder weapons. What? Yeah, the problem with looking at murder weapons is you see blood? I don't understand why you said it like that. Whatever, okay, that's everything. Oh, whoops, I didn't read that part. Ah, crap, I didn't read that part either! History. So one of Professor Hairbrained's tools is the murder weapon? Great. Yeah.
Hold it!
What grounds do you have for saying that? Ah, do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd.
The victim, Mr. Odiosman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrained. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive.
That's right, I saw him with my own eyes.
Furthermore, following the explosion in kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body.
In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. Alright, we'll see what that's about later. And Albert Hairbrained is the only bloke who fits the bill. Unless you've got some other bright idea, Sunshine, in which case let's hear it.
My learned friend, silence is your answer, Inspector.
Can't a man have a moment to think? We'll do that part in a second. But that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Von Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose? To gain the advantage? Oh, well, I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much information as possible. New information. Guess we're gonna go there, obviously, and do the Hairbrained reaction.
Hold it! Great Scott!
Alright, there we go. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Professor Hairbrained, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Huh? Professor! Oh, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum
coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. And the witness stand is the best place for that? It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Asmund as you say. Yeah? Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I'd plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see? Not one. True, I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Robert, the guy's freaking doing lines. Order. Uh-oh, line time. Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's adducing. Huh? Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Varric. But I'm really not a patch on you. Bro. No, you're not. No? You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have? A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this? Very well. You will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. There it is. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Now we have the contradiction there, but let's do a press anyway. We know what the contradiction is. Why would you think that, Inspector? With any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that profuse bleeding occurs. Once it's still lodged in the body, it acts as a stopper of sorts, for want of a better word. I see. You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for an investigator. Where's the son when you need her? If you ask me, this bloke masked what he was doing from the view with his body being before stabbing Asmund in the chest. Then he beamed the victim off the stage with his fancy device. The screwdriver's still where he planted it. I would never do such a thing! Not up to my precious tools! I would never use them for such dirty work! You only use tools for their intended purpose. That's common knowledge for any scientist. Yeah, that's how I feel too. The fact remains, the lack of blood at the scene can only easily be explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated. Okay, yeah. We already read all that. Okay, so let's go back there. Okay, I gotta click. There we go. Present. Now present the screwdriver.
Objection.
Here we go. You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding? Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is that if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes. What about the screwdriver? The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves.
on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor at the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Ah, well, now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the Defense Council to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Experimentation Act? The Equipment Act? No! Not at all! I wouldn't do that! I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. His screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah! That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman, and been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Ah! Ah!
Order, order. How do you explain this, Inspector?
Well, I don't. It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously, that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Von Zieks is stumped. No! Hairbrained, no! No!
Do you have something to say, witness?
Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there's no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? Does he not realize how he screwed things up? It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Buttering him up. Just when I found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Yeah. I shot myself in the foot, too.
Very well. The defendant will testify again. Provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. My Apollo. Alright, we'll stop there. I'll stretch him back. Okay, so inconsistency explained. Alright, saving. So that right there is the game for now. I have fun, hope you have fun watching. That's what's up, Basnet, having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.